few months ago during the COVID lockdown, when all of these shelves were stripped bare at the supermarkets and I had to pretty much use what I had to get a bit more organized with my meal planning and my pantry inventory and all of that. So I came up with these Excel spreadsheets. I wanted something that I could access on another device like my phone, or you could also do it on your iPad as well. So I created these in Excel, but you can use them in Google Sheets if you wanted to, and I have instructions for that in the blog post that I did about these spreadsheets. So I did that blog post, and then I had a few people asking me, can you do a walkthrough of the Excel spreadsheet so we can actually see it, I guess get a closer look at it than just the screenshots that I put in that blog post. So here we are, let's have a look at the spreadsheets. So I'm just going to go through each tab and give you a little overview of how I use it and why I made it, give you some ideas if you wanted to use this yourself. So this one here, it's called Favorite Recipes, but I actually use this for recipes I want to try. I do have a paper, like a binder, that I use for all of my recipes. So if I find one online that I want to try, I'll put it in here. And then once I've tried it, I will then print it out just to save paper. I'll then print it out and then put it in my actual recipe book. Now I've called this Our Favorite Recipes because I figured people didn't want a recipes to try tab, so I just called it Our Favorite Recipes. But if you do want a recipes to try, you can right click on the tab here, click Move or Copy, tick the Create a Copy box, and then you can just double click to rename Recipes to Try, and then you can rename it up here too. And then you can have 2 sheets if you do want to keep all of your recipes organized digitally. Now the reason I did this spreadsheet here where it's got a direct link to the website and everything is, again, so you don't have to print it out. So you've got everything in here which tells you what you need to have on hand. So things you probably already have in your pantry, and then other things you need to go and buy, which will usually be your meat and your veg and just your other things. So obviously you're going to have spices and things, but maybe if you need some fresh ones, you'll have to add that to your shopping list. So this is the stuff you probably already have, the stuff you should add to your grocery list. Also included a couple of other things in here, like the prep time. So if it's a weeknight dinner, maybe you don't want to spend an hour, maybe you want to go for a 45-minute meal, something like that. And then I like to have a photo in there just to give a visual. I like pictures. I think it looks a lot nicer as well. So to add a picture, you can do it 2 ways. You can click on the box where you want to add it, go to Insert Pictures, and then locate it where you've saved it on your device. Or what I think is an easier way is when you're on the web page, so if you click on this link, obviously you'll go to the person's blog or the website, wherever the recipe is, you can use the snipping tool. And this tool is something that is already pre-installed on my computer. I've just got a little shortcut below where this video cuts off. So the snipping tool, you can type it in your search bar of your computer and you should be able to find it there. On the whatever web page you're on, you just click New. You can just do a snip of that photo, and then you can just right click copy, come into the Excel file here or Google Sheets or whatever you're using, numbers for Mac, etc. Press Control V, and then you've got the image here. You can resize it down or up, whatever you want to do. So the snipping tool is quite handy just to take a quick picture. Copy and paste if you wanted to. Now in here, if you're using this as a recipes to try, then you probably won't have a need for the family rating tab, column, but I add that in because I think that's helpful. I know I've had a whole bunch of recipes before, and then maybe I haven't made a recipe for a couple of months, and I'm like, why did I not make that? Oh, maybe I didn't really like it that much, so I gave it a low rating, but now I want to try something different, so maybe I'll go back to that recipe, use it as a base, and then customize it and add a few other ingredients or something to it. So that's why I've got a rating column in here. I also have a categories column as well. So I use mine for everything that I want to try, whether it be baking or cooking, but you could just keep it for cooking only or baking, whatever you want to do. If you tick this little drop down box here, you can filter your recipes by meat. So if you know you want a beef recipe for dinner tonight, you can just untick all of them, tick beef, and it will just filter only your beef recipes. The only problem with Excel when you do that, it will bunch all your photos up together, but when you unfilter it, it'll all go back into order. So just a minor con of Excel. And then I like to have a clickable link in there, so you can just go directly to that page. And that's really all there is for me to say about this spreadsheet. So it does take a little bit to set it up. I usually copy and paste the ingredients off the person's website and then drop it in here in the various columns. But once you've done it once, it is a really handy reference, like an index. If you're like me and you've got a lot of recipes printed out on paper, even if you've got an index within that, there's still a lot of stuff to flick through. I just like having this as a quick reference summary. Very handy. Next is the meal planner. I'm just cooking for myself, so I don't need to plan ahead for a whole month, but I know some people do, that they would request it, so I've already included a monthly meal planning tab for you, and I've got an example set up here as well. So if you just wanted to do your dinner recipes, you can just type straight in the box. So maybe you want to put lasagna. If you wanted to do multiple lines of text, if you press the Alt-Enter on your keyboard, then you can type your next line of text and so on, etc. Whatever you want to put in there. So you could do breakfast, lunch, dinner, if that's how you want to meal plan. I have it set up that it will go into the middle of the cell, but if you don't like that, you can change the alignment. I think it looks clearer though when it's centered and not all bunched up together. You probably also notice that the dates are already in here and they will automatically fill for you. So you can see that the first of the month, 1st of April, started on a Wednesday, but if the first started on a Monday, you would just type that in here. So let's go 1st of the 3rd. And you can see that all of the dates have just pre-populated for me, very handy. And if you don't need to meal plan anything on those days, I just put a dash in there, as you can see, like I did here, because I was doing April. So that's how you do the monthly meal planner, and then there's a blank template for you. If you do want a copy of these spreadsheets, I do include all these examples as well, so you can see. You don't have to come back and rewatch the video if you don't want to. If you wanted to do more detailed meal planning, where you want a separate box for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, then I also have this template as well, which is just a variation of this monthly meal planner, but just with the separate lines. You can rename these as well, so if you wanted like snack 1, lunch, dinner, snacks, you can do that. Just type over the top of it with whatever text that you need, and you can just type the month in here. So it's currently September. You can just quickly populate it. And if you have done a meal planner like this and you want to keep a copy for future use, so maybe you've done this meal plan in April, but then maybe in like July you want to redo it because you had like each week you had chicken, then you had some fish, and then you had beef, and like it was really well planned out. You can just duplicate this. Again, right click, tick the move or click move or copy, tick the create a copy box and click OK, and then you could rename this as like September or monthly meal plan 1 or whatever you want to do, and then you can just rotate continuously your recipes. You don't have to keep coming up with different meal plans. It's already there for you. So after the meal planners, we have the food inventory. So I do have, well, I used to have a printed out pantry inventory, but then I just stopped using it because I don't really need it. It's only me, and I know what I've eaten, so I know like if I need to go and buy more. If you have a family though, then you might want to keep better track of this. If your kids are going and like taking the snacks, and obviously you're not keeping as, I guess, good a record of it, then that's when a food inventory like this would come in handy. So you can put anything that you want in these. I've just done an example. I've got pantry, fridge, and freezer. And you can see I've got like ice cream in a tub. We've got quantity 2. So if the quantity drops to 1 or 0, these cells will turn blue as like a reminder, like, hey, you need to add this to your shopping list. So to show you here, let's say we want beef mince, and you've got quantity 1, you can see it's blue. If it goes quantity 3, the box changes to white, so you've got a fair bit of a supply in there. That's just, I like visuals, as you've probably already picked up on, so that's why I have the little colours in there, just to remind. And if you wanted to, you can filter these out so you only see your fridge items. The only problem is I do have the 2 columns here, so you'll need to filter it on the other side as well, or just keep all of your fridge stuff on this left column here. The reason I did that with the 2 columns rather than just 1 is if you did want to print this out and keep it fixed to like your pantry cupboard door, you can still print it out. I've kept that in mind if you wanted to. And if you hover over any of these cells with the little red triangle in it, you can also see some examples or some tips that I've put in there if you want to. See, I've got in there that you can print it, hence why I made it with the 2 columns. So just some tips, extra tips if you wanted to read those. Then we have the blank grocery list, and I like to have the estimated cost in here as well. If you wanted to compare the price of your shop at, say, Coles or Woolies or whatever supermarkets are in your country, then you could have, you know, one that you've pre-filled with the prices from Coles and then one from Woolies, and then you can see, okay, I should get these items from this supermarket and then go to the other supermarket for these items. I know the prices tend to be quite comparable, but sometimes when they do their price resets, it does end up being like a bit cheaper at one of the supermarkets rather than the other, so just something to keep in mind if you did want to go into that much detail. If you don't care, then you can just ignore the price column. It's also handy if you're walking around the supermarket and then you can just update, like have this on an iPad or whatever device that you want to use, and if you have it open in Google Sheets, then you can access it like wherever, and then you can just update the prices as you go around in the supermarket, and then you've got all like the current info. So pretty self-explanatory how to use this category. Same with like pantry, or maybe you want to have like your baking aisle or your breakfast aisle, whatever you want to put in there, if you want to organize it. Then we've got the item, the quantity, the price, and then the total. So if you do keep it populated, or if you just want to put in an estimated price, you scroll down to the bottom of the spreadsheet. It will calculate the estimated cost for you. And that does take both column totals. I've just put one total in there just to make it easier rather than having to have two subtotals, and then another total is just simpler just to have one. So that will calculate how much your grocery shop should cost. So you can see if you've gone like over, under budget, or if you're really sticking to a strict budget, then that can be helpful as well. And then I've just got an example here with it pre-filled. So if you are wanting to have all of your staple stuff in here, and again with the prices, then this is already pre-populated, so you don't need to every week go and type in milk and then how much quantity. If you know that every week you always buy two, it's already like pre-populated for you. So you'll get this spreadsheet with it pre-filled, and then you can just delete out if you don't want my quantity or my dollars in there, and put whatever you need in there that's applicable for you. I have these rounded to the nearest whole dollar, but if you wanted to, you can, if you just left click and drag down, and if you click this button here, you can change it so it will show 2 decimal places if you wanted to do that, or you could just go down the bottom here and just see it there. Up to you how you want to do it. I have it set up with dollars because I'm in Australia and we use dollar symbol. I know the US uses dollar symbol, but if you're in another country, like you're using pounds or yen or whatever else you're using, you can change the currency in here, euro, whatever suits you. You can see it updates there. If you want to change them all at once, again, just left click and drag down. And if you press the control button on your keyboard, you can then select the other column as well and change it all at once. So let's say we wanted euro. So now we've got everything in euro. You'd want to do that with the price column as well. Let's do it like that, and then euro. You get my drift. So that's how